Hey guys. Okay, this is going to be a video that I said I was going to do back when I did my video on the Ring of Honor main events in Phoenix on WrestleMania weekend and what I thought about them, because they did announce that there will be two sets of gauntlets on two nights there, with Tyler Black and Roderick Strong both running the gauntlet back to back on both nights. One the first night and the other the second night. And I thought that that did warrant a booking video because it is an interesting concept that can be booked in so many different ways that it's kind of interesting to consider what I would do myself, and the fact that they could go so many different ways with it is just I just think it's very interesting to consider this. Before I get started on that though, I should probably thank Truth Slayer for the mention in the recommended users video that he did. Definitely very cool to get a mention by one of the most popular guys on here. And anyone who subscribed to me based on that plug, thank you as well. Just a very cool thing to get recommended by him. If he liked my videos, that's very cool. And he wondered about my name. There's a very simple explanation behind that. I made this account over 3 years ago. I never intended to make videos. I just wanted to use it for favoriting videos and the occasional comments. Never really thought of myself as going to be making videos until I even discovered the YWC. So I went with something simple for the username, just the initials of my name. That's all that is. My real name. That's all that is. And that's the only explanation behind that. Once I started making videos, I didn't have any real reason to switch to another account with a more legible username. So that's all that's all there is to that. It's nothing special. I know it's kind of weird, but I never really had any reason to switch, so I didn't. And that's all there is to that. Okay, on to the booking video. Now, I talked about how the Big Bang internet pay-per-view would hurt the Phoenix shows that are usually the WrestleMania weekend shows that are usually really, really good and like really special events, that the Big Bang would just kind of dampen that a little bit, and it definitely has. I mean, for one thing, these gauntlet matches, the title isn't involved in any of that. There is no title defense. They might swerve, but I doubt that, because they've advertised the Big Bang show as Tyler Black's first Ring of Honor World title defense. So you can't really change that at this point. However, I do think this is a opportunity to build towards the Big Bang in a big way, and develop what you've been doing with the characters right now. That are Roderick Strong, Austin Aries, and Tyler Black. And even though it won't be a crucial part of the build towards the Big Bang, considering that no one's actually going to see these before the Big Bang, so that kind of cancels it out right there. But I do think that this is an interesting concept that can build towards the Big Bang in some ways. So I wanted to do this. I wanted to see what I can do with this. It might not warrant as much importance as I'm giving it by devoting a video to it, but I did want to do this because of the interesting concept and the fact that it can be done in so many different ways. And I could also talk a little bit about how this feud has been developing towards the Big Bang, and how these shows can help, and how I think they can be best served in building towards the Big Bang. I can draw a lot of parallels between what's going on between Strong, Aries, and Black as to what TNA were doing with Joe, Daniels, and AJ on the build towards Turning Point. Because there's an antagonizer, there are two faces, one of which seems to be leaning towards heelish tactics in his quest to become champion. And what I find interesting about that though, and maybe if Daniels had been allowed to roll with the ball a little longer, he would have become a mainstay heel, a main event heel. Once Hogan and Bischoff came in, obviously their main event picture didn't include Daniels, so that was kind of unfortunate. But if Daniels had stayed in that spot a little longer, I think he might have become a main event heel. But what I find interesting here, though, is that I don't think Aries, as the heel in this picture, is being so much the antagonizer that Joe was, to kind of drive a wedge between AJ and Daniels. I kind of find it that Roderick Strong is doing this of his own accord. He's becoming paranoid about winning the world title without any help from Aries. Well, some help. Aries definitely isn't trying to soothe these guys over, but he's definitely not accounting for Roddy's behaviour. Roddy is pretty much throwing himself in the deep end of his own accord. And I kind of find that interesting. I kind of think that it signals it increases the odds, in my opinion, that Roddy is going to turn heel. That's what I think, because he is not being antagonized as much by Aries as he is just driven by a desire to become champion. You know, right now it's kind of like a competitive rivalry as opposed to a feud between Black and Strong, but I do think that it'll make the transition towards a personal feud that started with, you know, a competitive rivalry but kind of got personal. So I think that's kind of interesting to consider. That I do think that Roderick will turn heel eventually. You know, I don't think what he's doing right now is just due to Austin Aries driving a wedge between Strong and Black. That was what Joe was doing to AJ and Daniels. But I think that Roddy is more independent of himself right here. Okay, so the first night we have Tyler Black, who will be he will be facing Roderick Strong first and Austin Aries second on the first night in Phoenix. Now, if the Ring of Honor website is being accurate, it's being vague, but I hope it's accurate when it have the order of those matches right. You know, he faces Austin Aries first and Roderick Strong second. That is the way it is ordered on the Ring of Honor website. I hope to God that's the right way, otherwise this video has just become entirely pointless. However, you know, this right off the bat you can say that this gauntlet thing has demonized Austin Aries because he's in the first match both nights, and that just means that, you know, he will likely lose both matches because there's no reason why both gauntlet matches shouldn't happen on both shows. So right off the bat there you might have, you know, they might have a long drawn out first match on one of the nights in which Austin Aries does win, but that's not how I've done it, and I don't think that's how they will do it, in my opinion. But anyway, moving on, the first match will be Tyler Black and Austin Aries, and I will have Tyler Black win this, and I will have, you know, Austin Aries perform some notable spots on Tyler, stuff that the fans will remember. He performs some notable spots on Tyler that will be remembered, but Tyler holds his own and he eventually wins. And then he goes on to face Roderick Strong that night. Again, a good back and forth match. In the end sequence, Austin Aries interferes, and Roderick Strong indirectly wins as a result of Austin Aries' interference. Now the reason I do that is because I say indirectly because Austin Aries does interfere and he does distract Tyler Black, but he's not in it to help Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong doesn't exactly want his help, but he does somewhat take advantage of the fact that Austin Aries is distracting Tyler Black. He wins as an indirect result of the fact that Austin Aries is distracting Tyler Black, and Roderick Strong narrowly beats Tyler Black on the first night. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to give rise to, you know, Roderick Strong getting paranoid about winning the title and the fact that he is better than Tyler Black. Because now when he says that I beat you in a match, Tyler Black can say, but Austin Aries was interfering, you didn't really beat me. And that'll just give rise to Tyler Black getting, you know, all bent out of shape about, is he better than Tyler Black? Can he win the Ring of Honor World title? And then on the second night, I would have, you know, the first match will be Roderick Strong and Austin Aries. Another good back and forth match with Austin Aries, you know, trying to do the same spots that he did on Tyler Black the first night, and just kind of allows the fans to kind of compare how good Roderick Strong and Tyler Black are, and which one is better, but by the way they react to the same moves that Austin Aries is doing on both of them. And that's kind of like where I was going with that. I think that that can just be a, you know, you could have both guys hold up against Austin Aries' offense, but maybe Roderick Strong doesn't react as quickly as Tyler Black did, or maybe the other way around. It's kind of a good way to kind of signal who you want to go in looking the strongest going into the Big Bang. And then of course Roderick Strong wins, and then they go on to have the second Roderick Strong and Tyler Black match on the second night, and then that is the best match of the four. Tyler Black wins and sends the fans home happy with a big face win, because of course he'll get cheered because he just had the best match of the two nights. And then Roderick Strong is just really gets bent out of shape, because, you know, he can claim that he beat Tyler Black at least once, but, you know, it happened because of a indirect interference by Austin Aries, so he's really like kind of starting to doubt himself. Whereas Tyler Black beat him cleanly, and he can claim that he beat Roderick Strong cleanly, but Roderick Strong is going to have to struggle within himself to say the same thing. That's kind of like where I'm going with this. So that means Roderick Strong will go in just 10 times more bent out of shape into the Big Bang, and he can turn heel within that match by just exhibiting really, really vicious and violent and heelish tactics. Because I do think that Roderick Strong will turn heel, and I do think that this is the way they should do it. You know, there's a thousand different ways you could book something like this, but that's just how I would do it. And anyway, that's the end of this video. I might, over the week, do a comparison of the Ring of Honor and Dragon Gate shows. But for now, I'm out. Later.